Steps I Took podcast.
We're back in the studio
in Dubai.
With another fabulous guest.
Another fabulous guest. The Dubai-based podcast that invites guests to share their journey and tell us about the incredible steps they took to get to where they are or to get to where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, we're all still on the journey, right? So
100%.
finding out how far they've come already.
Yeah.
Who do we have today?
Well, what I was going to say, what I love about this podcast is that, like, you know, every single person that you interact with in life has a story to tell. And this guest in particular, I see on a weekly basis. And never did it occur to me, actually, this person could be a business owner or a multiple business owner. This person could be a mother or have, you know, more than one child and, you know, be crushing it at life. And it's an honor to have Manal Bassay with us today. Thank you for being here. You know, I know that you're a multiple business owner, you're a partner, interior design is your thing. But the thing that, and we'll get onto it at some point, that really kind of spoke to me, obviously I've got a little dog, and you're the founder of a company called Cozy Pets, which is like luxury furniture. I mean, you probably describe the company better than me. Luxury furniture for, you know, your little furballs.
Something you would only find in Dubai.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what we did it for. We said luxury pet furniture. Don't come to us if you're looking for 20 dirham beds.
Yeah.
Don't have it. Spoil your pets.
2,000 dirhams, yeah? Or like
Starting.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. We give good discounts.
Yeah.
Friends and family.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
You better treat Lionel.
But it's my partner and I, so I'm not the only owner. It's Kendall and I, and we're both partners in the business. But it's definitely been a passion project, something that we've been thinking about for a very long time. So
We definitely want to delve into your multiple businesses, what's even made you start them. But before we even get started, we have a tradition on this podcast where we ask you what has been one of the best things that's happened in the last 7 days.
Oh, the last 7, my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
My birthday. I always take my birthday as the actual new year for me. I think it's when I kind of set my goals for the rest of the year. And kind of what we were touching on earlier about like wanting more for yourself, and you can't be the same person you were the year before. So I always ask myself a couple of questions. What do I want for myself this year? Kind of like an internal vision board where I like visualize exactly what it is that I want for myself, and how do I continue serving my multiple purposes, like without taking away from the person that I am, and having that balance. So my birthday, I would say, not just for the sake of the actual day, but I think just the beginning of the change that I want for myself.
Yeah, nice, love that. And is there one thing in particular, you mentioned like vision and stuff, is there one thing that you're manifesting for this new year?
I would say gratitude, more of gratitude. I don't know if I would necessarily say there's something in particular that I want to change, because I feel like the person I am today is the person that's gotten me to where I am today. Like, you know, and so I don't want to let her go. Like, she's on this journey with me. You know how they say, like, heal the inner child, Like, you know, if I was younger, this is what I would tell them. No, I'm here. Like, I've been here. All versions of me are walking with me every single day.
What were you like as a child?
I was very quiet, very timid, very shy. It was just my sister and I. So there was an 11-year age gap. So I was always the baby. I was the baby to everyone. My parents had me when they were much older in life. So I was very naughty.
Naughty.
I loved creams. I loved my mom's perfume. Like, I was always up to like some kind of mischief.
Is that because you could get away with it being the baby?
I was also very cute.
Where did you grow up? Like
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
I was born and raised
Born
here.
and raised.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Born and raised here. So I grew up in Abu Dhabi, a fairly Arab community. We lived around a lot of Yemeni people. But yeah, it was just a lot of running around, jello. I used to save all my money. They would get, an Eid, they would give you money for Eid, right? And I would just like save my money, and everybody knew Manal had this box with a little lock that wasn't really locking. So they would just open it and then just take away the money, and I wouldn't count it. But I knew I was saving it. So when someone asked me, do you have 10 dirhams or 5 dirhams? I would open it and I'm like, where's the money? So I guess.
So people were stealing your money.
Wait, who?
Apparently my uncles and my grandma.
It's the ones
I know.
closest to you.
It's always the ones closest to you. But
Why were you saving it at that time?
I don't know, you know.
Did you
there's
ever
a lot
buy
of-
anything that was like,
No,
wow?
I hated candy. I wasn't into chocolates. Like all the kids would go and take that money to the supermarket, buy these little, Jellos and like, gum.
Were you saving for your own cream and perfume?
I don't know what I was saving. That was for my mom's Clarence creams. That was separate. I didn't want the average lotion and creams. I wanted the expensive ones. I wanted her night serums, and that's what I wanted. I would just put it all over my body. But I was just saving. Like,
So are you still
idea.
naughty now?
No, I'm not. I found my voice, and I'm a little bit more. I'm more of a thinker now. Like before I don't take any rash decisions or so.
So what was life like growing up in Abu Dhabi? It's very rare that, I mean, actually living here, you often meet people that grew up here and stuff, but like for people that are listening, you might be the first person they've heard who grew up in the Middle East and the UAE. What was that like?
Oh man. Growing up here in the UAE was like, it was amazing. And like sometimes I feel like an outsider even until today. Like even now, sometimes I look around and I'm like, I just miss these little things that Dubai had. But it's been so beautiful. And I always say like just watching how far it's come in a very short period. Like other parts of the world are still taking time to develop some of the things that are being developed here. Always been so diverse, always been so like wanting to do better, for themselves, for their people, for anyone that's chosen the UAE as a home. And I think that's really beautiful. I mean, look at us just here in the room. Like we've all chosen, this is like our chosen home. So as much as I sometimes feel like an outsider, because a lot of the places are still very foreign to me, but I am still able to interact with people that have just come yesterday or 6 months ago or 6 years ago. And so that's a gift, I think.
Yeah.
That's the gift that it's given us.
What are the small things about Dubai that you miss?
Oh man, the beach, the open beach. We used to have the open beach. So what is today Kite Beach and Al Sufur used to be. That whole strip was just empty. There was nothing there. And I remember how devastated we all were. Like we would just go, a group of friends, just take our Jeeps and just park by the beach. And then one day we didn't have the rest of it. There was like they'd close it off for construction. And we had like this small window, like a small section, which is now Al Sufur. But I remember going, this can't be it. Like, what happened to it? So I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss
the simple things.
I miss the simple things. I miss, shawarmas and like just having a karak, and like there was this like fish market on the beach. Now it's fancy, but before you would just sit out on the pavement and just have your fish. I miss that. I love it now, but I miss those little, the old town.
It's interesting. You grew up here, but feeling like an outsider, and then missing the simple things. Because I think as an expat, when I think of home, it's the simple things that you miss, like being able to just walk around to your friend's house or go to a corner shop.
Yeah,
or
we were saying the other day, like walking to the supermarket or whatever.
Exactly, the simple things. But even you growing up here, where there's been so much change, it's the simple things
Simple
still.
things. And it's a little bit more, I would say, this is something that like I try to tell some of my friends to try to understand me as well, and like where I come from. So my mother is Somali, my father is Yemeni. And obviously both countries are not safe to go back to. So this is basically home. So it's not like there's no alternative. Like there's no, like I can't just be like, all right, you know what, I'll take my kids, go back home, they can study there and they can, like, it's still, there is still that gap. I struggle with that, obviously. And so it's helped, like the way that the UAE has been shaped, like all around, I feel like has allowed also for us, or like even me and my family, to kind of find a home and just like grow our roots here, you know?
And how was, what are your memories like of, I guess, your family within the community and how they were received, you know? Because I know in other parts of the world, you know, I've got friends who are, you know, Yemenis or, you know, and they, you know, their experience, you know, might be different because they're perhaps in the Western part of the world in comparison to, you know, you growing up in the Middle East where, you know, I guess, like, you know, same religion overall and, you know, maybe there's some cultural similarities there and stuff. But what, like for you, what was your sort of perspective growing up?
Like as far as you mean culture and religion, like as far as family, everybody being in different
Yeah,
parts
and
of the
like,
world.
did you feel like welcomed into, you know, like,
No.
did you feel, no?
No.
Okay.
I was either, I mean, it's a lot, but you know, it was I was either too Yemeni and I was too fair to be Somali, or I was too dark to be Yemeni. And you know, when I would travel overseas and to see my family overseas, we had different cultures. So the ones that lived in the UK had a different culture. The ones that lived in the US had a different culture. The ones that lived in Canada, we were all, and some of us had evacuated Somalia during the war, which was devastating. So the way that we were interacting, of course, when we were younger was a little bit different. It was a culture shock. Every summer we were visiting each other. There was a lot of a culture shock. That's, of course, one of the damages that, excuse me, the war did. But I feel like it may have been easier for me coming from the Middle East, was easier for me to meet them where they were, if that makes sense.
Because you're already surrounded by so many different cultures.
Yeah, because I was surrounded with so many different cultures. I was still going to an American school. I still had like friends from different backgrounds. I still had, you know, different religions, so I could understand. Like, so my way of interacting with them was a little bit more, like it was easier for me, I would say.
I think that is a beautiful thing about this side of the world, or being in the Middle East in general. You are interacting with so many cultures all the time, every day, in work, in personal life, in everything. So it's good that it was able to help you with, like, connect with your family better.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, that impression when you were younger, what was it that I guess spoke to you as a young girl that made you feel like, I want to, you know, be a business owner? Is that something you had as an aspiration from when you were younger, or?
I mean, I feel like it was my calling because I was saving money for God knows what. Like, I was saving money for
the
something.
trade license fee, right?
Right? Because that stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
But I think like growing up, all I saw in my entire family was entrepreneurs. Everybody was starting a business. Everybody was doing something like big for themselves, for their families. And then, so my mom lost her husband. My father passed away when I was 3 years old. And of course, I was 3. So you can imagine from that age moving forward, all I saw was an example of really just a strong Black woman that was just doing it on her own. She never remarried, never did anything. And I remember her starting a business, losing a business, closing a business, starting a business, closing it. She never gave up. She just was like, finally, like, this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's really, like, in the back of my mind, what really shaped the person that I am today. I'm always like in conversations, I'm always like thinking about starting something new, or, you know, like, I love the idea of starting and finishing. Like, you know, you've got to start something, but as well, like, carry it through. But I think the idea of like having a legacy for my children has been like, it's been in my genes or DNA or something that's been built into me from an earlier age. And it wasn't until now that I can see that. Like now I can see it. When I look back, I'm like, all those things that she did, she must have even not known what she was doing, but she was doing it so that I could be where I am today, you know?
What kind of lessons have been your takeaways from your childhood?
My God, like I think I was 6. She would give me the map. She would give me the passports. She would tell me, you know, take us through. I was leading us through airport terminals. I don't know how old I was. And she was like, what gate are we at? And I would say, A28. And she was like, okay, which way is it? That way. And I was very young. It was, and I always took it. And my sister was older. So I guess the two of them kind of were like co-parenting me, you know? But I was like, it was small things like that, or it would be really just trusting me. Like with my homework, she would check in. She was very very involved. She would take me to each and every one of her offices. So every business that she started, I was with her every single time. There were people that today would be like, you don't remember me. You were 10 years old when you came to our office. And I'm like,
Was your sister with you as well?
my sister's a doctor. She's in the medical field. So, and she was much older at that time. She was doing her residency. So I was the purse. Like I was the one that was tagging along everywhere and drawing and sketching. But I guess I was taking in all the conversations, all her successes, all the failures, like, you know.
And was she going all around Dubai or the UAE in general?
She started in Dubai, and, you know, one of her stories, which I'm probably not giving it enough justice, was one of the businesses that she started was she got a big, like an ark, like a ship, where, so the war was happening during that time. So there was, you know, people wanted milk, rice, you know, they just needed goods. So she thought maybe I could sell it there, like send it over there. And we started and sent goats and camels and, you know, things like that. And the ship sailed, and there were people on the ship, and it sunk, and people died, and everything. She lost all her money, and it was devastating. She couldn't like recover from it emotionally, but she had 2 girls that she had to raise. So she had it's like almost like there's no time to grieve. Like there's no time to just hold on for a second and, you know.
Fight or flight.
And do you feel like, I guess, watching, say, your mum go through that and seeing how, you know, she just cracked on with things, you know, continued, you know, showed resilience and drive and determination. Do you think that those are traits that have been instilled in you now then?
Yeah. But I'm trying to do it with a little bit more balance, ease, and grace. Because she's in her 70s, I don't name her age. She still goes to work. She's at work as we speak. And she just can't stop working. And I love that. But when I'm older, like when I'm her age, I wanna also be able to enjoy. So my takeaway is like, I love that and I love that journey, but I also want a little bit of a balance. I want to be able to work. I want to be able to enjoy time with my kids. I want to be able to enjoy time with my friends. I want to be able to start new businesses. I want to be able to find space to be creative, you know, find time for myself, because no one's going to come and save you.
That's a lot of things to juggle at the same time as obviously raising 3 kids. Yeah. How do you juggle?
The way I juggle is, at first I didn't know how I was doing it. So sometimes I'd be like, what are you doing? Like the end of the week would come and I'd be like, how did I do all of these things? But I think it's setting my priorities, first of all. So my priorities were first my kids, and then my business. Now it's me, my kids, and the business. So I'm doing a bit of a change, because I realized that I'm the source of energy. Like, I know I was like shy from saying it in the past, because I was like, no, like I don't want to take all this responsibility, but it is. Like, it's
When you
here.
say now, how long's now been?
Now, like the past year, like, I want to say the past year, I've realized how important my health is. You know, I'm trying my best to like take on healthier habits. and I see, you know, obviously my kids growing older, and so I realize they are the priority, but they are the priority if I make myself the priority.
You
If
can't
I
pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely
basically.
not.
Yeah.
And I have those discussions with them because again, I don't want them to necessarily follow in my footsteps. I want them to do better than me, just like I'm choosing to. Not that my mom is doing bad or I'm doing bad. No, it's okay to be a little bit better. You know, it's okay. There is always room for improvement. So,
And learning from the lessons.
and learning from the lessons. Like, we're not trying to replicate. We're trying to, you know, we're trying to do better for the world. We're trying to interact in a different way. We're trying to move differently into this world that, and they're much younger. Their challenges are way more than the challenges that we faced. So it's
And what about the challenges that you face in business now? Do you feel that you've learned a lot from watching your mum's challenges?
yes, yeah, I have, and this is more recent. And so I want to say 4 or 5 months where we realize that there are certain things that we can't keep doing the same. And I found my own voice. So I'm an interior designer. And because my mom had, this business for 34, 35 years, I have realized that I'd been feeling this burden of responsibility since the day she opened, which I must have been 8 or 7. And so I guess I'd always known that I was going to be the one taking, because I knew my sister was in the medical industry. She was a surgeon. Like, that was her vision for herself. And I didn't realize how heavy of a burden it was. But I was an interior designer. And so I was like, this is not making sense. Wait a minute. Like, everything just came at me, I was like, but I'm an interior designer. I'm a creative. Like, I can't run a business. I didn't study finance. I didn't study business management. I didn't study economics. Like, I'm not fit for this position. And it took me some time to, like, that was the longest. That was my greatest lesson. I fought so hard. There was a lot of arguments. There was a lot of internal arguments, between me and myself, because I didn't know how I would, merge it. And then I said, well, you know what? I'm an individual. Like, I have my own decisions. I'm going to open my own business. So I did that.
Did you pull away from your mum's business then?
So yes and no. She still wanted me to be involved, and this is me being absolutely transparent. She still wanted me to be involved, but I was also trying to tell her, like, this is my passion, and I'm here, and I want to be here. So I will come like a couple of times in the week, but I couldn't do that because I had kids and I was pregnant, and so just things kept coming at me, and eventually I had to close down the interior design business. We did a lot of amazing work, but I still couldn't find, when you're trying and it's not gelling. Like, you're trying and it's not gelling. There was just a disconnect.
So had you started the business and then you were pregnant, or wait, what was the chronological order of
Correct.
that?
So I started the business. I was still married, and then I had the baby towards the end of right before I closed it. It was called Fiore Nero, which is black flower, my mom's nickname. Anyways, I'll get to it. But yeah, so and then right before I closed it, I gave birth to my son, and I came back maybe about 45 days later to the office, and it was just nothing was moving. We tried to relocate to a different location. We were in Citadel Towers in Business Bay, then moved from there, went to Barsha Heights, and then from Barsha Heights came to Sharjah. I'm having these arguments. I have a sick baby, and this business that's not moving, and my mom that's asking me, like, when you're gonna come? Like, I need you to take care of X, Y, and Z. And I'm going through a divorce, and I was just like, I just crashed. I was like, I'm out. So first thing I got out of was the business. Next was like, bye to the ex-husband. Then I was like, right, now priorities, now I need to look at what I need to do. So I would show up every day to the office, just like, dragging my feet. Couldn't find what it was. And then I decided I wanted to start a workshop. I had one interior designer friend that was like, hey, I've got this, can you make it for me? I said, yeah, absolutely. So it's like, okay, we'll just put 2 or 3 guys on the payroll and we'll start this. And then she was like, oh my God, I need this quickly. Can you also do this? And I was like, okay, maybe we'll add one more. So over time, it just the team kind of came together. And before you knew it, I was now working with multiple interior designers, helping them, because when they send me their drawings and specs and like their requirements, I can read it faster than a contractor or a joinery someone from it. So I can read it and be like, I don't have this, but I have this. Do you trust me? We reach a stage where she'd be like, yes, I trust you. And then
So do you build the bespoke pieces then?
yeah.
Okay.
And then it just word of mouth.
So what sort of pieces? Like, are we talking like sofas and?
Yeah, so sofas, curtains, wallpaper. I mean, we do everything, but what we custom make is anything that has to do with wood. Anything that has a wood frame or wood, or from wall paneling to upholstery to, it's like literally everything. But the way it started so small, and then today where it's still small, I'm still the one that goes in and take my own measurements. I still carry samples over, show samples myself. And so I found my place, like I found my niche, that place where I was trying to find like how do we gel it? And I kept saying it's gonna come. Like, we would have discussions with the office, my mom, and it was always like, well, what is next? Like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do this. I can't find it. And then one day I said, nothing. I just want to do nothing. I just want to ride the wave, because we can't be the same person. And we can't be the same person that you were before. And nothing bad lasts forever. Like, it's always, it's going to get better.
This too shall pass. That's what lots of people say.
This too shall pass, yes.
So obviously where you then started doing nothing, how did it find you?
So when I was doing nothing, I was like, I had still had my contacts from my interior design business, right? So I still had the people that I was still in contact with. And so I was just doing follow-ups and, sending emails. It wasn't that I was doing nothing per se, but I wasn't doing anything for me, like my creative side, my interior design. I wasn't doing those. I was doing more like traveling for work to buy carpets, because our main line of business for my mom's company, our company, is flooring. That's what it was initially. And so we were still traveling. We were still working on like flooring, getting projects, exhibitions, big events, flooring, big events. And then, so I was still there, but then it was just that one call. Just one call. I can't even name the day or the time, but I was just like, huh. And ever since that moment, I've decided I don't want to be in control of any situation. Like, I fully surrender. Like, I fully surrendered. I'm like, what's meant to be will be, and what's meant to happen will happen in the right time. You have to force it. You don't have to push yourself. You don't have to what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Let me think about it. Like, just sometimes it's okay to just be still. Like, just be.
So now, how long has your business been alive for?
Well, it's still the same. So it's the same family business.
Oh, okay. So you've added on to it.
Yeah. So I've rebranded it. So I did something. So that was another way for me to feel, because, when it's someone's story, and my mom's story is so beautiful, and I could never take her story and claim it as mine. I needed my own story. I needed my own reputation. I needed my own, while I was still taking care of it. That was the connection that I was looking for. How do I do what I meant to do while still fulfilling my own personal dreams? So we just rebranded it online.
Yeah.
So it's a company, it's an LLC, it's been there, but I just changed it because it's called Manal Carpets and Furniture. It's named after me. But when people were reading that name, they were just like, God, how old are you? Very old. Very old. When we used to use Al before the name. You know what I mean?
What does Al mean, like, for someone who's listening?
The Manal.
Yeah.
The Manal. So that's literally what Al means.
Yeah.
But it's and then all I did was just change the logo, redesign the logo, changed it, and appeared with a different brand online. And it was like, it's almost like that's all it needed to do.
It's almost like you kind of took what your mum had, built and stuff, and you kind of helped bring it to the modern day. Helped modernize it, and now I guess the benefit of that is that you're able to, live out what you said is your purpose, but also continue your mum's legacy as well.
Yeah, and continue it, and not take away from it, and not try to be, because the biggest issue or the biggest challenge for me was that I kept trying to fit in shoes that didn't fit me and will never fit me. And that's such a big response. Like, I went through, depression, anxiety. Like, I was having panic attacks. I was questioning myself, because how could you, her story, it cannot be my story. That's not fair, And so I decided, like, and again, like, I don't even know how I thought about it. Like,
so in what situations would someone want to see an interior designer? Like, let's just say, okay, I'm new to Dubai. I've got an apartment. What's the process? I know you're an interior designer. Hey, Manal, this is the space. Like, what can you do for me?
So there's two things people often get, mixed up with each other. One is an interior designer. The other one is an interior decorator. The interior designer usually is involved from the beginning, like when whatever it is that you're building before construction. A lot of the times, interior designers are cut out of these conversations, which is also one of the reasons why I had to rethink. And that's when I went to do my master's overseas, because I was like, what's going on? There's no more market for interior designers. They cut them out. So an interior designer essentially is the one that does the space planning. We create the spaces, so the living space. We think about ergonomics. We think about all the main design principles of a space. So a lot of the times when you walk into an apartment or a house or a space, you're like, wait, who puts a bathroom there? That's because an interior designer was not involved in the making of this space. So we are the ones that create the environment. So we allocate. So if it's like a 5-bedroom villa, the 5-bedroom villa is essentially would be for a family, right? So you think about how the family would use that space. You have to think about the common areas, the sleeping quarters. You've got to think about how are they going to use the bathrooms, how they want to use the kitchen. Do they want to guard
even traffic flow,
everything. So we are really working alongside with the architects and we should be there. We are the ones that do the material specifications and prepare the documents to be submitted. And then that's how the vendors and suppliers are outsourced. Interior decorators are also amazing, like in the jobs that they do. But an interior decorator is better at creating. So interior designer could do both, the space layout and what we talked about now, in addition to the mood, the lighting, the ambiance, what is experience that the visitor is going to have, all of those things. An interior decorator will come and make the space that, let's just say, an interior designer was not involved in, workable, pleasant, So that's the difference between the interior designers and interior decorators, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah. And then Cozy Pets, which is obviously like the thing that like drew me in initially, because I'd heard of Cozy Pets. I've seen it on, I don't know if have you seen it online and stuff, and I'd seen because I've been looking surprisingly, like in Dubai, when it comes to say furniture for pets and stuff, I've been to so many pet shops and the furniture is hideous. Like it's just like it's ugly. Like, and I'm like,
it really is.
Yeah, like
not for Lionel. This will not do.
Yeah, like yeah, because I'm just like, this in my living room is just gonna look. It's just gonna look off brand with everything else that's here, kind of thing. And then like to the point where I was even looking on Amazon and etc. Then I don't know if I saw an ad or whatever I saw, but Cozy Pets, and I was like, why didn't I think of this? But literally, like luxury furniture. So what was the progression from, you know, I guess you mentioned that, you know, you specialize with like wood and stuff like that.
Yeah,
What was
so we had the I have the workshop, and Kendall and I had been for years thinking about like how do we work with furniture, whether it's to export it, whether to make it, what do we do? And then one day he was like, why don't we do pet furniture? And I was like, oh my God, that's genius. So immediately that day we sat down, we drafted like a business plan. We're like, all right, let's think about it. Put out a logo. Our first logo was so funny. It was like a dog and a cat, like a cartoon figure. And I was like, what is this? Like, he was like, can we change this? I said, please, let's do it. Like, I don't know what state of mind we were in, but this needs to go. And then we started sketching out some designs, looking online, seeing some designs that went in. We're like, wait, where are all the pet furniture? Where is all the pet furniture? Where is it? There was no market. Like there were a few shops that maybe sell it, but I knew we had an advantage because we can also custom make it. Like any color, any fabric, we can bring it to you. You could change it, like so many advantages. Anyway, so we worked on the business plan and then we had created an email, but I'd sent it to the wrong email to another Cozy Pets. And I was like, we've got to go online. He was like, well, I sent the business plan to the wrong Cozy Pets DXB.
before they steal it, basically.
Before you steal it. Yeah. So we went on, like did everything. I know. It was
That is
horrifying.
crazy. Did they ever respond?
No. Nobody responded. Like I tried to, I was like, no. Like it wasn't
Tried to like
working.
recall the email. Like,
Yeah.
wiggle. Yeah.
Like just I couldn't do it. So we immediately just worked on the logo, like I said. My team right away worked on the designs, did some like, you know, super like random photo shoot in the studio, in the showroom that we have in our warehouse. And we're like, we can work with this. Do you think we can work with this? He was like, we need a photo shoot. I was like, okay, we're gonna do that. And we did. We got Louis. And it was just like, it just kind of happened, like it flowed so easily. And I think it's the perfect market for it. We all love our pets. And I'm sick and tired of seeing us like, I have 4 cats, for example. They prefer our beds. I've tried the Cozy Pets bed. They prefer our beds, to be fair, because there are so many of them. But we love them, and I would want to give them something that is luxury. And it's not just saying luxury because you can make the money, but it's really the time and effort that goes behind it, you know?
People love their pets though, don't
Yeah.
they? So they want to spend money on their pets as well
yeah.
and give them something that looks fancy and luxurious.
Have you had like, I'll be interested to know, like, have you had like feedback from say customers and stuff? Because, you know,
yeah.
because there has been times like where I have bought like, you know, Lionel like a little thing for in the living room that he can sit in. But for some reason, he always finds himself back on my sofa. And it's like, you know, like, I don't know if has that come up.
Yeah, so no, just 2 days ago, actually, one of my clients bought one of the beds from us. And so one of my clients, meaning for a sofa, like we did her apartment. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize you have a dog. Like, do you want to? And she was like, yeah. Is it expensive? I was like, yeah, but he's worth it, you know? So she got it and she sent me this video. She said he won't get off it.
Oh.
He loves it so much. And I have the message and I was like, can I post this on social media? Like, I was like, can I please screenshot this? Because it means so. She was like, he just won't get off. Like, it's, you know, it matches her sofa. It's gorgeous, matches the interior. I was like, yes, this is the goal. Like,
I love this.
I want to actually, just for like listeners that are watching it on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna go to the Instagram for Cozy Pets now, and just so you can kind of see, like, I'm gonna put it in this camera here. Hopefully, the camera can pick it up. I'm sure the wizard will zoom in now.
no.
That might flop, but let's see. Yeah, and then
That is really cute.
It's so cute. It's
And to have one that matches your sofa as well, because I feel like maybe Lionel's jumping on your sofa because he wants to be with you guys.
That's the thing.
If it's matching, it's like, well, this is my special one.
yeah.
Animals are smart as well. That's why they scare me.
They are. I mean, my cats, they don't care. Our cats, 4 of them, don't care. Bed, no bed. It's the bed. They will go on our beds, on our pillows. They need a different kind of bed.
Bringing it back to when you first came up with the idea to make pet furniture, what is the market research that you do around any kind of business that you've started before you actually decide, yeah, do you know what, let's go ahead?
So you have to differentiate yourself from the market, first of all. You can't keep selling the same thing that you want, the same thing that's being sold in the market. You've got to find your unique selling point. Sometimes maybe you don't have a unique selling point, and that's also okay. But you have to find that thing that will be like, oh, I'll take this instead of that. The other thing is you have to truly care about it. Like you have to truly be passionate about what you, and that's whether it's for, the rebranding of M Home or Cozy Pets or Picnic or whatever it is. Like you have to find your passion. You have to find that love for that thing in whichever shape or form, but you have to care about it. Because it's so easy to have a business idea and say, I've got a genius idea. Let's sell books. But like, what kind of books? What is it doing? What is it teaching me? And I would say to do proper numbers, like to see where you are, like what your market share is in the market, like what it would look like. How many more of you are there in the market? Is it a big portion? How much of it can be yours? And those are just a few. I'm sure there's a long list, and I'm probably missing out a few. But I would say those are the main points to definitely consider. It's
Before starting any business, because I think lots of people have these ideas and they feel passionate about it at the time. But you're right, having passion behind what you're actually doing definitely helps, because there's so much more to starting a business than just that bit that you're passionate about.
You have to believe in it. If it's just about the money, quit it. And if you're waiting for quick money, quit it. Like we all know, basics of business is like any business that you start 2 to 4 years. Everybody quits before they finish the 2 years. But that's when you start making your return on investment. Like that's when you start making it, because you would have entered with an amount that you knew that you would, like that's your startup amount. And after 2 years is only when you would start, maybe after a year or 2 years is when you start actually making back your money. But you have to just be patient, but don't go in without a strategy. Don't follow the money. Don't follow the rainbow. Don't. It's not always, it's not always for the money. Like you've got to do it. You've got to believe in it first. And if you believe in it, everybody else is going to see and believe in it.
It's interesting as well, because I guess now we're at the point of, I guess, your life where we're kind of talking about you as, the business woman, and now you obviously got 3 kids of your own. And, when you were growing up, you were looking at your mother as the businesswoman, with two daughters. What sort of conversations do you have with your children around business, and do they ever ask questions about your business? And
They have
stuff?
businesses.
Oh, wow.
they have businesses. They are very they're very conscious of saving, spending, and charity. And like, so when they were very young, they had this they had this one shoebox, and it was divided into 3 sections. One was what they would spend, the other one was what they would save, and the other one was charity. So they would just
You did this for them. That is
that's nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they would. So they understood it. Of course, I mean, I am one person, so I didn't maintain it, but it stuck with them. I didn't do it long enough, but it stuck with them. And so the other day, not the other day, a couple of months ago, my son asked me for 20 dirhams or 50 dirhams, something like that. I was like, where's your money? He said, no, I'm going to give you back your money. You're going to get it back, but just trust me. And I went, here you go. And so what he did was he just went to the school. I hope I don't get punished for this. But he went to the school, and basically he put a couple of snacks that he felt that the kids would like, and he sold it for like 5 dirhams. It would have like one drink, like a juice and like a cookie and, like a small pack of gummy bears. And then he did the math and he was like, here's your 10. I was like, wait a minute. I gave you, he would say, I said, I gave you 20. You're giving me back 10. He said, wait for it. I'm spending the money. Just, you need to be patient. And he went back. And kids kept coming out of the school and be like, Omar, don't forget me tomorrow. Forget what? And then he showed me the packets. He bought sandwich bag packets and he would put these things and he would seal them, had like a little marker, write their names down on it. And then just...
That's I love that.
Custom made.
You
I was
know?
like...
Yeah. Because that's
I'm still waiting for my money though. I'm still waiting for my money.
Investment.
That's the spirit of like entrepreneurship, isn't it? And I think like a lot of, you know, you said about getting in trouble and stuff like, I feel like a lot of schools can sometimes like try and crush that spirit. But I think that shows you, you know, that like if he's doing that from now, nurture it, because, you know, he could be the next generation of, you know, successful business person. So
yeah, I make it very clear. I know sometimes the school would think that I'm like a big mama bear, but I make it very clear that when they're in the wrong, I take them to the school and I am like, make an example of him, right? But I also have been very honest with the school and I've told them my intentions. Like I always feel like beginning of the year, because I'm a single mom, and so I have to be open in my dialogue, my conversations with people, because I know I can't do anything all on my own. That's another thing I come to realize. So I do ask for help. So I go to the school at the beginning of every year and I'm like, these are the things that I want to focus on with Omar. I want to make sure that I don't crush his spirit, because of course, like they would maybe see themselves as lesser or not as important because of the situation, you know, the circumstances that their parents are in. You know, I didn't do it. It happened. So I try to have the dialogue. I have the same conversations with them. I make it very clear. I'm like, I want to build them up and not crush them. You know, even today we had this conversation about like trying to find the balance between discipline and, you know, how to continue building the person that they want to be, that they should be, you know, not like the way most of us were raised where it's like you have to be this person in order to be that person, you know? So yeah, just...
Do you think the way that you're raising them then, they're alleviated from the same kind of pressure you had to fulfill your mother's shoes?
We'll find out. You know what though? I tell them, I'm like, if this is not working for you, there's therapy when you're older. I was like, this is the best I can do. I'm like, just pick an ice bath or a therapist. Go with the ice bath though. But you know, I have to. I don't know if it's gonna make any difference. But like, what parent knew what they were doing when they were doing it?
Yeah.
To their child when their child was older. You know what I mean?
I always think that's actually an interesting thing, because, you know, every child thinks that their parent has it all and has all the answers, right? You know, that's why children always ask their parents, oh, why does this happen? Or what does this mean, etc. But, you know, like parents, you're human beings, right? You know, it's like, and there's going to be times when you don't know the answer, but it's crazy that, like, you know, as a kid, you think that, you know, the world revolves around your parent and
absolutely. I always tell them, I'm like, I am the most imperfect person you will ever see. Please don't look up to me like I am know-it-all. I do everything right. I mess up. I make mistakes. I'm always telling them, like, I'm human, or like I'm very transparent when I'm having, you know, like self-doubt or when I'm going through my own emotional state. I'm always very honest with them. I need 15 minutes. Can we come back to this in a bit? Or my brain is pounding. I need to think. I need to write down what I'm thinking about because I can't even hear my thoughts. And they would just leave and do what they need to do and then come back. And they would always come back with a hug. And it's just, it's like, I'm like, yes.
It sounds like you have really great levels of communication with your kids, though.
I'm trying. I'm not always great. When they watch this, they'll be like, she's not that great. But I try. I don't think there's like a proper manual for it.
Yeah, there's no manual for being a parent. Definitely.
And then what would you say to like other parents out there that, you know, you're obviously running a business, raising kids. What would you say to other parents out there that might have those ambitions to, you know, maybe it's like a mother or father who's a stay-at-home parent, and you know it's their partner who's out working, or maybe it's a single parent that wants to kind of, you know, now set up their own business, or it could be someone that is a parent but has a natural 9 to 5 and now wants to step out. What would you say to them in terms of like managing that whilst obviously raising children?
I would say like the chances of like failure are always there. Like we can fail anything. Like you go for a driving test, you may fail 5 times before you get it. So failing is not like highly unlikely, right? But it's like to just have contingency plans, or to have, if you think about it, if you think about an idea, do it. Don't be afraid of failing, just do it. And then have conversations, open conversations with your kids. Let them know what state you're in. If they're too young, ask for help. If they're a little bit older, trust them to make decisions for themselves. Enable them, motivate them, encourage them to, you know, to be more self-sufficient while you do what you need to do. Take time off of your day. Like just use your calendar to block off time with the kids, time to work, time for walk, time for gym, whatever it is. Like actually use the calendar, because it's not possible that we have an X amount of time during the day and we can't divide it. You can't tell me all you're doing is X or all you're doing is Y and I can't find time for it. There's always time. If you make time for it, you'll find time, you know? And I would just say like, just plan well, and ask for help. Like I didn't do that. I still struggle with it. I struggle with it. But I think with practice, you know, but I would say, because I struggle with it, I would say if you were starting it, ask for help, you know, get a mentor, get someone to stand with you, walk with you. If you need a little bit of support, don't be ashamed. Most people are just always afraid to ask the question. And others are just, you know, too selfish to want to share information. So it's just find your community, find your group, and just just pace yourself.
That's really good advice. Really good advice. People, I think it's really important that everyone prioritizes and works out what their priorities are. Like you said, you had your priorities of kids, then work, and then you realize, oh no, it has to be me, kids, work. I think a lot, and as we evolve, your priorities change. So it's about making sure that you actually change it in your mind when you are evolving, not just sticking to your old kind of routines.
Yeah, we have a tradition at the end of each podcast where we ask all our guests the same question. And that question is, if you could introduce one rule for everyone in the world to follow and implement, what would it be and why?
I don't know. I was going to say be strategic, but that's not a rule. The rule, I would say, just hug. And just hug.
Hug. Okay.
Hug.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs a hug. I don't think people hug enough. I'm such a hugger. But why strategic? Because I wasn't strategic in certain different circumstances, not just work or family, like in different scenarios. And I found myself in situations where I was like, I should have looked out for myself first, you know? And I think it's a very important keyword as well for business if you're also starting it. Like, if that was where that one rule was, like for work, I would say, but I wouldn't, I
was using that. They're both very good rules. I'm a hugger. I love a hug. But being strategic, I mean, lots of people throw things out there without making a plan, right? Or understanding what they're doing. So I think they're both really good rules.
Yeah. I think so as well.
But because we be in a situation or a scenario and you're like, how did that happen? No, they thought about themselves. You didn't think about you.
Yeah.
And then you're like I didn't think about that, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm a hugger. You see what I mean? That's why I was like, both of them really are important, but like you can hug, but be strategic.
Yeah.
You know?
Love it.
Love that.
Thank you so much for coming
appreciate
and sharing your journey. It's been so interesting to hear about the ups and the downs and rounds.
Yeah, like it's been great having you on. Where can people find, you know, like your businesses, etc.? Like, you know, plug it.
So M Home Interiors on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and Cozy Pets DXB and Picnique. It's PICNIQUE. They're all three of them are on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want your luxury picnic setups, luxury pet furniture, or affordable luxury furniture,
That's
those
where
are
you
the
go.
two places. Yeah.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Thank
on. It's
you.
been great.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for the time.